Hello and welcome back to the Joyful Soul Creates. Charlotte here, and today I'm making a project for Skull and Cross Buns, and I'm going to start by painting a night sky background with my Gansai Tambi watercolours, and you can see the colours I have used on the screen. I've taped down my piece of watercolour paper to actually the back of the watercolour paper pad. This will help keep it nice and flat, and also the watercolour pad is preferable to taping it to my craft mat because that way I can tilt it as I need to, whereas if it was on my craft mat I wouldn't really be able to move it. So I'm starting, first I put down a layer of just clear water, and then I'm starting adding in my colours to create a ombre from very light blue to very dark blue, and in fact I've used black as my darkest colour because I really want a nice dark night sky. I'm not the best watercolourist because I'm not as patient as I could be with watercolouring. To get the best results I find you need to use lots of layers, and I often just feel like I don't have time for that, but on this occasion I actually did manage to work in layers and I think it turned out quite well. So here I'm just using a thirsty brush to sop up some of that water from the bottom, and then I did dry that layer off screen with my heat gun before going in to put my second layer. And here again I'm starting at the bottom with my lightest colour and working my way up through each of the shades of blue. Starting with your lightest colour is a good way to help prevent it getting muddy, because if you draw your dark colours down into the lighter colours it's just going to darken them up and make everything a bit muddy. So I think it's best to start at the lightest colour. And I'm just adding the colour and going backwards and forwards and then using a damp brush to blend them together a bit. And here you can see I've tilted my makeshift board up to let the colours move together a bit more. Then I dried it again, and I've actually skipped ahead a bit so that you didn't have to watch the process every time, but in the end I did a total of I think 4 layers. I considered leaving it after the third layer but decided to go with one more layer and see how that looked, and I think that was the right decision. So again I'm going in one colour at a time and pulling it across in stripes, working from the lightest up to the darkest, and then I'll take a clean brush, well the same brush but just kind of dampened and cleaned up a bit, and use that to go across all of the colours and just help them blend together a bit more. You could even go in with more than 4 layers if you wanted and just keep building up the colour to get it really nice and dark, but I felt this was good enough for my purposes, and also I didn't have the patience to do any more layers. I wanted to get on with making my card. I took the panel away and chose a piece to die cut using Mama Elephant's framed tags Lafayette dies, and then I'm going to do some stenciling on top of it, and I'm going to use some glitter paste. I'm going to mix my own glitter paste, and I will link in the top right hand corner to a video where I showed how to make your own glitter paste if you'd like to know. This time I'm actually colouring it up with some yellow. I used Catherine Paula's Limoncello ink for this, and I also mixed in some vintage platinum distress glitter dust to give a bit of sparkle and shine to my stars. And this stencil is from Skull and Cross Buns, and it is called Stars and Sparkles Large Stencil. So I'll just spread my paste all across it. I think my technique for spreading paste needs a little bit of working on because some of the larger areas I kept pulling the paste back up when I wanted to be spreading it out. And I also did have 1 or 2 places where it kind of pushed under the edge of the stencil, so I need to practice that a bit more. I took the stencil, craft mat and palette knife and washed them immediately because you don't want to let the paste dry on them, and then I set that panel aside to dry and worked on my unicorn image. This unicorn is stamped with MFT Black Licorice Hybrid ink, which is alcohol marker friendly, and I'm going to be colouring it in with my Spectrum Noir Illustrator markers, and you can see the caps on screen of the colours I have used. The unicorn is also a Skull and Cross Buns product, and it's from the I Believe in Unicorns stamp set. And I decided I wanted the unicorn to have a white body, so I'm just going in with a couple of shades of grey and my blender pen to add some shading and dimension to the unicorn. And then I used some darker shades of grey for the hooves, and I actually leave a tiny bit of white just to give a look of shine to the hooves and help them seem more dimensional. I brought in just a touch of pink for the inner ear of the unicorn and also the tip of the nose, and I did blend out that nose with my blend pen again. And then for the mane and tail I decided to go with goldy yellow colour, so I started with my lightest shade, which is GY1 Moonlight, and then I'll start darkening up the shadow areas with GY2 Mimosa, and I'm doing my shadows mostly as if my light source is coming from the top right, which is how I generally do my light source on images if there is not a particular light source in the picture. Then I go in with my darkest colour and just darken up the shadows even more, and then back again with my lightest colour and blend it all out. For the unicorn's horn and also the spots on its rump, I'm going to be using some blues. I didn't want them to be white, but I also didn't want to bring in any more colour, and I thought blues would work well with the blue of the background. Once I'd finished the colouring, I fussy cut the image out with my scissors, and then I'm using a brush tip water-based marker in black just to edge the cutout image. This hides the white core of the paper and just makes it look a bit more finished. You don't have to do this, but it does add a little something extra to the card. Next, I worked on my sentiment panel and I took a snippet of black card for this, and I actually laid it out on the card base with the other elements so I could make sure I get the sentiment position correctly. The sentiment is from the same Skull and Cross Buns stamp set as the unicorn. And once I had got it all positioned, I took the card base back out and just moved the strip down so it was flush in the corner of the MISTI to make sure I could get it stamped properly. And I decided to heat emboss this with Love from Lizi Golden Crown embossing powder. Originally I was thinking I would heat emboss it in white, but I decided I wanted to bring more of the gold into my card, so I went with the gold instead. I trimmed the panel down a bit, and then I'm using double-sided tape to adhere it across my watercolour panel with the stars on, my night sky background. And I used the lines of my grid mat to make sure I had that straight. Then I'm going to attach the unicorn over the top using Tombow Mono Multi liquid glue. And then I flipped the whole thing over and put foam tape on the back so that I could pop it up on my card base. Again, I'm using the lines of my grid mat to make sure I have it completely straight. I kept the black snippet as sentiment strip long on purpose so that I could then cut it down to make sure it perfectly fit the card once I had it in place. And that completes my unicorn card with night sky background. I hope you enjoyed it. All the products are linked down below in the description box, and if you use the code that's also in the description box, and I will show it on screen now as well, you can save some money on your order from Skull and Cross Buns. And I will also have links to the other products I used as well. If you did enjoy this video, I hope you will press the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button is right next to it. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments about why you liked or disliked this card. If you'd like to see more of my videos in future, you can press the subscribe button, which is on screen now. There are also a couple of my other videos on screen if you don't want to wait to see more from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!